Welcome back to Tim Butterly's show. Glad to have you here in my driveway where I was hoping we could talk about all the stuff that's going on without feeling the need to dwell on anything. I took last week off because I was taking a look around and I mean, my God, the fucking volume of misery occurring at any given time, and you know, you feel like you have this obligation to at least give a fuck about anything that's going on. As important as, you know, all the stuff is, it's like, if it doesn't immediately grab me, I don't want to just yap without a point is where I'm going. I don't want to just fucking dartboard onto an internet post and attach myself to it and hope I say something worth clipping. I'm not going to do that. And beyond that, if it's all bad, or if it's mostly bad, I don't want to just like wallow in it without. I feel like the value I provide is maybe a little bit of a, you know, hey, you've got some pretty good stuff going on probably in your own life. That's what I want to shine a light on. And so, yeah, I'm gonna talk about some stuff I've been reading, but I'm gonna couch it in maybe some simple pleasures. This is the autumn of simple pleasures in my home, and I figured we could start with the motorcycle I've been talking about, hoping to have for, I don't know, if you've been listening to my podcast, the past like 5 years. And the last time I had a bike was probably 10-ish years ago. And our family's car was involved in a hit and run, and the deductible was like $1,000, or what's it called when you have to pay up to a certain point before the insurance kicks in. But anyway, not catastrophic damage, but you know, I'm a working class man supporting a family of, at the time, 4, and so I had to sell the bike to repair the family's Volkswagen. Devastating. But I didn't hesitate. I knew, hey, I can sell this bike for like $3,000. I'll take, no problem. And you know, when things are going well again, I'll get back to one. And that time just took forever to get here, but now it's here. What you're looking at right now is a 1985 Honda VF700F. Also known as the Interceptor. Pretty fucking cool, right? You'll notice it is not a very sexy bike by today's standards. I don't think there are any curves on it whatsoever. It's all hard angles. But I passed one of these on the street in Philadelphia years ago. I was walking around at work and I just happened to see one, and I don't know if it was the color scheme or the shape. I haven't even gotten to the engine yet, but I went, whoa, now that's something I could see myself kicking around on. The tail looks like a Gundam foot. How cool is that? If you're, you know, fellow virgins. I got into Japanese bikes, specifically 70s bikes, because you can be an idiot and still work on them. I stumbled upon a YouTube channel. I think his name was like Mr. Mac's Story, and it was like a dude in Delaware, and he just he was a bike flipper, and he bought these like shitty, unloved 70s bikes, and he very clearly explained, he wasn't even like making great content about it. It was just a guy in his backyard, and he was just like, yeah, you know, it all boils down to like 4 simple concepts that you need to get one of these things running, and he explained it in a way that really made sense, and I got into it. And it's a pretty affordable tinkering thing that, I don't know if it's ever been on your mind. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. You could find a mid-70s Honda, either twin or inline 4, and with some pretty affordable tools and just like a sexual gratitude for like frustrating like checklists and shit like that, man, oh man, you can really have some fun. So I did some research on these bikes, and one thing I learned was that first of all, they have a kind of uncommon engine type. It's a V4. This is the V right here. Okay, there's 4 cylinders and they're set into a V, and you know, I've read that provides like kind of a like efficient and like distinct power creation and delivery system. I would never know. I would never feel it, but it's cool that you can read that on the internet about the thing that I have. That's a neat thing. And another thing about them is that they are just a nightmare to work on. They are not as fun as the more simple 70s bikes. You have to get inside, you have to, even just to clean the carburetors, which is already a monumental pain in the dick, you've got to pull a lot of it apart. No one's happy with working on these things. But that actually makes it easier to get them for an affordable price because, you know, every old bike guy says, yeah, I'm gonna handle it myself. And then push comes to shove, it's like, oh, fuck, I'm not doing that. Me though, I think I like that part more than riding it. I don't think there's anything more fun about a motorcycle than, you know, disconnecting a lot of parts, worrying the entire time that you're never going to put it back together, hoping that you can keep the bolts and screws organized, realizing that you don't have the exact right tool for something. All of these frustrations, they hit me like a fucking, it's like a deeply therapeutic pulse that hits me. Oh, another frustrating thing is, well, obviously all the information for every bike is on the internet now, but traditionally, the way that you figured out what you were doing with these things was you bought the climber manual. And yeah, it's got all the specs in here. It's got all the tire pressure, you know, the fluid volumes and types and everything that you could possibly need. It's got diagrams. But then for the really important stuff, it's got these really small black and white pictures that are super high contrast and, in my opinion, absolutely useless. And you go, man, yeah, I guess inspecting the camshaft is pretty important, and I really hope that I can't make heads or tails of any of the pictures, and I mean, dude, rock hard over that shit. So I got one, and it rides. The next thing I have to do for it is I've got some pretty significant oil on the surface of the engine, and as best I can tell, it's coming from the valve covers. So I found some gaskets from an eBay seller, and you want to here's my favorite part of this entire thing. When I pull off these valve covers, I'm going to find out if my bike was one of the lucky ones that has a manufacturing defect that I think made the camshaft metal too soft, so it gets like warped and pitted. There's also a chance the valve springs are no good, and then on top of that, there was a design flaw where you don't get enough oil delivered up into the top end. And so I might find out about all of these when I go in to just replace a piece of rubber. And man, oh man, that is, I mean, truly, like, that's the hell, that, you know how you like become a Hellraiser demon? That's my sexual torture kink that I'm gonna be stuck in the puzzle box with forever, is just loose motorcycle parts for a problem I don't understand. But that's just one of my simple pleasures. And then, you know, I get a lot of joy out of, you know, when you get into like a hobby like this, now you have to start joining specialty message boards. There's one just for the, I think it's I don't know if it's V4s or Interceptors specifically, but now I have to create an account there, and I did. And you search for the problem that you're having, and you hope someone's already got a post about it, and God forbid if the details aren't clear enough, you have to make a post, and then all the guys are like, this has been covered before, and you're just like, I know, man, I didn't even want to fucking post here, can you just please help me? And then you end up never actually using the account, and you just get like, regular update emails from it, and you go, oh man, I should go back to that website someday, and you never fucking do, and nothing ever gets done. But something about it all feels really fucking good. That being said, everyone's up in arms about this Riyadh Comedy Festival, huh? Actually, why does it seem like comedy's becoming like a thing where like, people used to dwell, like everyone has to have a podcast. Maybe too many people have podcasts. And now it's like everyone has to constantly be talking about what other comedians are doing. It's almost like, yeah, I make jokes, but to get my jokes out there, I publicly talk about my displeasure with other comedians all the time. And I don't like that. I've actually never been a bigger fan of comedy in my entire life. I've been going to shows just to watch. I'm fucking amped. And now, of course, take that with a grain of salt. I'm a fucking club comic in the most reviled comedy scene on the planet. I'm a fucking idiot. Duh, I'm gay for moving here. Duh, no shit. But there's so much to enjoy. If this was something I've liked my whole life, I don't see why suddenly my enjoyment of it would be like just, you could ignore the guys you don't like. Isn't that crazy? I think Mark Maron's funny. I like Mark Maron. I'm a huge Brian Holtzman fan. Let that be known. I've been talking about this a bunch lately, but me and MJ went out the other night. We had nothing to do. We went to a Brian Holtzman show, and we sat there for an hour while there was no point that, not one time during his entire show was the entire crowd into it. It was like pockets and he's just fucking around so much the entire way. It was so fucking fun. But the Riyadh Comedy Festival, now, what's the bag it would take? That was everyone's question. What would be the bag for you to look the other way? It's like, I don't fucking know, man. It's becoming Mark Wahlberg 9/11 talk. Like, if I got offered, dude, it wouldn't have went down like that. It's like, yeah, maybe. I kind of just don't give a fuck, though. I don't give a fuck about that. Well, I do, but not. I don't care what Bill Burr does or Dave Chappelle does. I honestly don't even give a fuck what any of those guys are doing. I even watch clips of some of these guys' podcasts and I laugh my ass off. I literally LMAO. Now, does it stink that they accepted money from the 9/11 guys to perform like sort of, high constraint yuck 'em ups for, guys that execute journalists and chop them up and stuff and stone women and shit like that? I don't know, probably. I guess so. Just seems like none of my business, But what I do want to talk about, though, is Saudi Arabia itself. And maybe I don't give a fuck about the comedy festival, but last week, the Prince of Saudi Arabia bought Electronic Arts. Last week, the Prince of Saudi Arabia said, I'll take Madden, please. And he spent $55 billion buying Electronic Arts. I don't even know what regular games they're responsible for anymore, but if you play Madden, or FIFA, NHL, PGA, it's actually funny. EA Sports makes the PGA Tour video game. PGA is a direct competitor of the, LIV? So now it's on you. Now it's on you guys that play Madden every year, or even NCAA. Every year when you buy Madden from now on, yeah, it's bad that Bill Burr took $750,000 from the guys that chop up journalists. But moving forward, you're going to be giving those guys $70 to $180 a year. Are you cool with that? They're buying up all the esport. They bought up all the golf talent. They're throwing money into tennis and F1. Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. That was them. Next year, Tom Brady and Saquon Barkley and Gronk, they're all going to Saudi Arabia to play in a flag football tournament that's supposed to lead to like a multi-year, I don't know, development bullshit. So now you're gonna have like retired big, so instead of going to like the broadcasting desk, or maybe they still will, now they're going to become trillionaires in Saudi Arabia playing flag football with each other. So anyway, I was doing some reading, and it seems like they're getting kind of hip to, you know, oil being less in demand as green energy really takes over. I mean, and that's optimistic of them. I like, whoa. The Prince of Oil says, hey man, green energy is the way. We should end up, we should buy all of Western entertainment. That's pretty forward thinking, man. I gotta give it to him. I'm actually, whoa, all right. They're trying to turn Saudi Arabia into, pardon the expression, esports mecca. Maybe there's others putting money in it, but they're the guys really dumping money into, like when you see stadiums full of like fat Korean dudes and like chronically ill white guys that are just at the top of the game in like League of Legends or whatever, that's the Prince throwing money on them. Now they're getting into video games. And part of this isn't just like a money-making thing. This is going to be this is influence that they're trying to buy. They're trying to buy global influence. And so they're going to take more, dude, WWE. They're in WWE. And so maybe at first, you know, they make the business solvent. They make sure, hey, we're going to come in. Hey, look, I know we just bought you guys out, and let me just first say I'm so excited to have you guys all on the team. We're really going to do great things. When I think of a business, I think of a family. They're going to do the entire thing that happens when your company gets bought out, which I've unfortunately been a party to like half a dozen times. And then when things aren't a disaster, then it's like, okay, well now let's think about the future. And then suddenly it's going to be like, I don't know how you make WWE more Saudi royal family friendly, but that's what they're going to do. You know, maybe now they take all the EA Sports games. Maybe it's subtle at first. Maybe like your My Rookie mode where you play through like the life of a prospect as he gets like drafted, and you know he suffers setbacks, and you try to climb your way to a championship. Maybe now they include mini games where you actually beat the fuck out of a girlfriend. Maybe you're playing mini games to beat the fuck out of a girlfriend, and then you're actually like spending my club points to hire the best attorney to get off. In fucking UFC 6, Conor McGregor mode, you know? You can be raping women on yachts, and then you're gonna be buying in-game currency to get a good lawyer so you can get off. I'm not saying that's what I would do if I was the Prince of Saudi Arabia, but that's what he should do. Maybe my larger point here is that there's no good news coming. And I think you should treat most news like a sound in the dark. I think we try to access a less or a more early evolved function of your brain. And when you're outside in the dark and you hear a noise, your threat responses should start to trigger. And I think almost all news that you receive, because none of it's going to be good or good for you, every new piece of information you take in, just try to identify how this is going to sap something from your life, whether it be monetary value or safety or an erosion of anything you feel connected to culturally. The Saudis are buying up all of our entertainment. And I was thinking that would be interesting. We could have kind of like a Muslim Jew. This is how we finally settle the 10,000 year holy war, is by, box office. But then I read that the Saudis and Israel are like kind of cool because they both hate Iran, and it's like, all right, well, fuck, that sucks. Now Israel, if Saudi Arabia scoops up enough of our like popular culture and media, and they have all that money, and I don't know about their debt situation, but they're probably not carrying as much debt as the United States. What if they suddenly become the guys, you know, bankrolling Israel, and they don't need us anymore? That's when it's gonna suck dick. What happens when Saudi Arabia starts buying up like streaming services and like, you know, movie studios? And you've got the Israelis coming from the other direction where they just sort of like infiltrate and slowly change things to line up with the wants and needs of a foreign power. And Saudi Arabia is just like, well, we're just going to own it and we'll do it our way. And then they go, hey, I like what you're doing. It's like, I see you too, brother. Then instead of every movie, you know, being like a sneak diss at the white families, then it's just gonna be like outright, just like, you guys, nah, we're good. Did you guys see that AI actress? There's an AI actress named Tilly Norwood. And I think it's kind of just like an art project by like this UK company. But they made this announcement, this is Tilly Norwood, she's an actress, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, who gives a fuck? And I don't even, so what? Some of the criticisms are like, she doesn't have life experience to draw on. It's like, okay, well then, why do we have child actors? Also, like, what life experience does like a rich kid that went to NYU, like, what are you talking about? But people are pissed about it, no one likes it. I think it would be cool. As the UPS guy just saying hi. I think it could be cool. I just don't know if I'll be able to enjoy a movie with an AI actress knowing that she didn't have to like make a deep personal concession in a private meeting with a producer to get the part. You know what I mean? Like when I'm watching a great movie with a promising young talent, I'm not thinking about how, wow, dude, what was her process like? How did she convey that feeling? How did she take the words in the script and turn it into even just visually, the emotion that's coming across? That's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you know, how far was she willing to take it when she was sitting in that guy's office across from, you know, Jerry Blatstein or whatever. That's what I value in movies. I was just thinking today that I really feel bad for black actresses anymore. What a fucking shit time to be a black actress. There's never been a worse time to be a black actress ever. Every like go-kart. That rocks. Every big role going to black actresses right now is like, it's like a big movie where it all boils down to her being, and they'll even show it in a trailer. She'll be like, huh, bet you didn't think I could do this. Probably the white men probably told you I couldn't handle this. Well, guess what? I'm Iron Man now, and it's like, psh, loses $120 million for the studio. That sucks. Don't put that on them. What if the Hulk was a girl and twerked? It's like, come on, man, stop. I don't know if she was black, but I don't think non-black actresses are allowed to twerk even in Hulk form. Actually, I got my laptop. Was she Hulk black? I don't know. She seems like a. I don't know. I'm on the fence. Looks like no. Well, she got away with twerking as the Hulk. Well, maybe being the Hulk is... Tatiana Maslany is a very ethnic name. Well, okay, well, just in case you're thinking I'm stupid, and there's a heavy glare on my laptop mounted on my motorcycle, by the way. It's not clear to me. It's not important to me what her ethnicity is, but it's not clear to me either. And when I Googled, is Tatiana Maslany. The first autocomplete was white, okay? No, she's not black. She's Canadian, actress of Ukrainian, Polish, German, Austrian, and Romanian descent. But the She-Hulk twerked, right? I know I saw this in a GIF somewhere. It's not important. I'm getting distracted. But yeah, you keep making shit movies hinged around a black character proving white people wrong, and then it fails miserably. And then they're just tied to a big bond. That's not fair. Don't do that. Stop doing that. So that's bad stuff, right? Wait, did I have anything else to add? I prepped some notes. The NFL thing is weird. Also, I guess flag football is going to be in the Olympics, by the way. But they're saying, okay, if no one's going to buy oil, then guess what? We're going to be sitting on the majority of Earth's fun reserves. They're going to set up fun refineries, and all of your leisure and entertainment is going to be, you're going to have to buy it from a bloodthirsty monarchy in the desert. I think China took a shot at this. That Tencent company, they bought up a bunch of games, like huge ones, and movie studios and shit like that. I haven't heard much about it lately, though. Let's just all agree to keep an eye on that shit. Let's just keep an eye on which country is going to be spoon-feeding us all of our drivel for the foreseeable future. But back to some simple pleasures. Let me know if this sandwich style is not working, but back to simple pleasures. I'm almost done Death Stranding 2, and I gotta say, wow, Kojima's done it again. I have nothing but praise for it. And actually there was I would say there's probably 35 hours in the middle there where I wasn't sure how I felt about the game. I was really deep into completing every infrastructure project around Australia. I've got most of the roads done. I've got roads from the beginning to, I'm just about to come around on the backside of the mountain now. Monorails are popping. I'm just not using them a ton. I spent a lot of time in the pickup off-roader. Now, what are the criticisms? Everyone's got the same criticism. It's a delivery simulator. Yeah, kind of. Sure. Okay. Go on, look up how many people play Lawnmower Simulator or fucking Power Wash Simulator or PC Builder Simulator. People are playing simulator games and enthusiastically. Maybe it's tongue in cheek, oh, you got it, this is the dumbest concept ever for a game, but that's why it's fun. Well, fuck that, dude. Yeah, I'm playing a delivery simulator and infrastructure rebuilding simulator that also is, a pretty complex supernatural sci-fi story about grieving the loss of a child. You can shit on it, but where have you seen it before? That could be not for you, but you just let me know where, are we retreading old territory here? No, I don't think so. You're grieving the loss of your child the entire game, and just being the most stoic, cool guy ever without being loud. I don't think he ever raises his voice. Everybody likes you. Literally everybody in the game likes you. I'm 100 hours into the game. Every character with a name thinks I'm the coolest guy in the entire world, except for Higgs, the bad guy. And guess what? Everyone hates his fucking guts, and he keeps beating my ass. Everywhere I go, Higgs shows up and beats the fuck out of me and almost kills me. And tortures me and mocks my loss and just really works me over. And honestly, he's kind of cool. He's got this weird digital guitar, and when he plays solos, it shoots Ghostbuster lasers out of the front. And he's he says shit that you would never say. He's a cunt. He's a real fucking bitchy cunt who talks way out of line. And yeah, if I wanted to be nasty like that, I could talk like him too, but I would never do that. And he gets too close to people, and he's threatening. And again, he just won't stop beating the dog shit out of you, but everyone else hates him. No one likes him. Everyone likes me, the best porter ever. You pass guys that are trudging through the snow with, 250 kilos on their backs, and they go, "Hey Sam, thanks for everything." And you go, "No prob, Bob." And I don't know if I'm describing a really fun video game, but it was a really pleasant way to spend about 100 hours so far. Hey guys, this uninformed schizophrenic yap fest is brought to you by HIMSS. According to the National Institutes of Health, as many as 30 million men in the US experience ED. It's literally more common than a bad night's sleep. If you're one of those 30 million, there's a solution out there, and it's called HIMSS ED. Through HIMSS, men get access to personalized prescription treatment options like hard mints and SexRx, plus climax control if prescribed. You don't even need to leave home for help. HIMSS is 100% online, so you can do everything from the comfort of your couch. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/TBS. That's hims.com/TBS for your free online visit. hims.com/TBS as in Tim Butterly Show. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. Thank you, HIMSS. This brain damage ramble fest is also brought to you by House of Atlas. Most shaving brands are boring as shit. They haven't innovated in years and just pump out the same products in different packaging. Try something actually new with House of Atlas. House of Atlas is awesome. Their razors are made in the United States with stainless steel blades that are spaced to reduce clogging. The blades are even reinforced with welded steel, so you'll get a smooth shave with no irritation. Guys, we're talking about simple pleasures. What about the simple pleasure of the cool air on your face after taking that beard all the way down before you bury that thing between a pair of thighs? Isn't that fucking sick? Pair your razor with their precision shave cream and calming aftershave and get ready to be the total package. And now, for a limited time, they're offering 20% off site-wide plus free shipping at houseofatlas.com. Just use code TBS at checkout. That's HOUSEOFATLAS.com with promo code TBS for 20% off everything. House of Atlas is now available at Target stores nationwide too. So stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlas.com today. Trust me, you'll love it. Thanks, House of Atlas. And now back to the program. Oh, also, you know who else doesn't like you is there's camps of bandits in various places around the map, and it was on site with those guys. Never had a conversation with one of these guys between both games, and as soon as they see you, it's like they're throwing electric javelins at you and shit. And then guess what? You walk in with a grenade launcher, you can blow everybody up without too much trouble. You beat the shit out of all these guys. And then they're all, you don't kill them because that would cause a void out, and that's a disaster. So you just knock them all out with non-lethal rounds. You take all of their shit and see you later. And then they wake up, I guess, like a couple days later, and they're back. Everyone thinks those guys suck too. And they go, hey Sam, I hate to ask you again, but would you mind going and beating up 5 of those guys for me? And you go, yeah, sure. And then they reward you with thumbs ups. You get likes. The entire currency of the game is likes. Isn't that crazy? That's how abundance works in the dystopia. I think there's 3 ladies. There's 3 ladies on your ship that go everywhere, and they all think you're the coolest guy ever, and they're nice to you. The game fucking rocks. They're not like constantly like bitching at you and like arguing about shit that you're just like, yeah, I don't really think this is a priority right now. It's cool. It's a good game. I want to talk about the likes as currency for a second. Let me just check my recordings. How comfortably can I sit on this? Wow, that's nice actually. So, all right, so that was another nice thing. Now, back to terrible stuff. I'm watching a docuseries on Paramount Plus called Control-Alt-Desire. And it's a story about, Okay, when this guy was 29 years old, he was sent by his family. He lives with his mom and his dad and his 2 brothers. And his 2 brothers have never lived anywhere. They've always lived at home. I think they went to college. They have jobs, like they work at hospitals. They're not like complete losers, but they've never lived anywhere but with their parents. And when this guy was 29 years old, his name was Grant. Grant Amato. He had to go to a rehab facility in Florida, I believe, because he, over the course of a couple of months, had developed an online relationship with a cam girl, which culminated in him through the use of cam tokens. He was buying chunks of cam tokens. He ended up spending like $200,000 of his family's money, like his dad's money, on cam tokens for this like Bulgarian cam girl. I found him through JCS Criminal Investigations on YouTube, and it was a fucking blast to watch it. He got arrested at he'd been kicked out of the house. Well, I got to tell you where it goes. Hold on, it's not really a spoiler because the documentary sets this up. But the way I saw it on the JCS Criminal Investigations, or Criminal Psychology, whatever, he gets arrested at a hotel because he had just been kicked out of the house the day before. He'd been sent from his home. So after he had completed his stint in cam girl rehab, he comes home. His dad lays down the ground rules. He goes, we're monitoring all of your activity. You can't use a computer anymore. No contacting this woman ever again. And, things look okay for a little while, but then his mom starts letting him use her phone so that he could DM this cam model on Twitter. And he ends up getting roped back into the cycle, and he starts taking his brother's credit card. Dude, he spends another $50,000 or something like that on cam tokens. He's buying chunks of cam tokens in $600 blocks. So he murders his entire family when he's finally confronted about it. He shoots his mom in the back of the head. His dad comes running, he shoots his dad. Then he uses his dad's phone to text his brother to, hey, come home, I need you for something. His brother gets home and he shoots him as soon as he walks in. He goes and stays at a hotel. Oh, dude. All right, there's a funny detail that I'm gonna add here. He goes and stays at a hotel. The cops come and arrest him at the hotel. They don't, they just, and I don't know if they say he's under arrest or if that they're investigating something and they need him to come to the station to talk. So they bring him back and they're interrogating him. And they don't mention what it's about. They never say, hey, your family's dead. We need to ask you some questions. They just go, hey man, so we need some help understanding some stuff. And they just start asking him about his life. And dude, he's like completely like total, like he's an IRL Reddit guy. And they're asking him like, so what do you do for fun? He's like, oh, I like to watch anime. And they're like, oh, what's anime? We don't even understand what that is. And they're just making him talk as much as possible. And he's just like, he loves explaining things to them. And he never picks up on, or he never says, hey, why am I here? You know what I mean? What is this all about? And so eventually they're just like, okay. Oh, he even like opens up about the cam girl thing. He tells him how his dad, they got into an argument, his dad threw him out. Eventually they confront him about it. He denies it. Total pervert worm guy. But it's revealed, like when they finally have all the evidence, dude, he shot his entire family and then took, I want to say the brother's credit card and went to a Publix and he fucking bought $600 in cam tokens in the parking lot of a grocery store and fucking gooned. Isn't that fucked up? So I was trying to show my wife this and I was Googling the case and then it turns out so anyway, let's book club that. And we'll all come back next week having watched Control Alt Desire. I think I almost finished the first episode. It's like, guys, we got to get in on this. This fucking rocks. This is really fucking funny. I did have one more nice thing. No, looks like it's bad stuff. So the timeline for AI workforce replacement, the entire workforce, now all the top dorks are saying 2030 is when AI is going to be ready to replace the workforce. And is that possible? I don't know. I'm 50-50 on if that's possible, but that's what they intend to do. And I'm like, the promise is, so in 2030, we're gonna have AI to produce everything and service everything, and it's gonna be robots, and it's gonna be, you know, robots and bots, right? And they said that within like the next year, AI will be smarter than any one person on the planet, and in like 2 years to 5 years, it's going to be smarter than all people put together. And I don't think that really matters. I think they can specialize AIs to do anyone's job. And what they're promising is when we do that, goods and services will be so cheap to produce that everyone will be able to afford everything. But if no one is able to work and generate value for themselves, even if, let's say, milk is a penny, where are you going out to get money to bring it into this system of AI providing everything? And Elon Musk is promising that we're going to have high abundance. We're going to have universal, healthcare, and everything will be provided for you. And it's like, no, actually. Like right now, 50% of all software code is being written by bots, being written by AI. And that's kind of fucked up because before we had the AI threat, when we talked about like automation taking jobs, it was like, yeah, we'll just learn to code, man. Someone's got to write the software. And it's like all the, think about how many dudes like left trucking to learn how to code. I don't know about you, but I was seeing these guys on the internet everywhere. I was on video game message boards where guys were in like coding school, sharing projects and like getting feedback from guys that were like way deeper into it. So everyone went and learned to code. That's going to be the first one to go. And then everything else would just be when they're able to produce enough robots to do it. I mean, desk jobs, that's great. I think desk jobs could go tomorrow. I actually asked Grok about this, and Grok got into this like cyclical explanation where it was like, well, yeah, but since goods and services are cheap to produce, they'll be able, everyone will be able to afford more, and you're buying it back from the company, and it's like, this is fucked. This is so fucked. I think Korea has like a robot tax right now, where if you're using like automation and AI for like whatever percentage of your productivity, you have to pay a tax back to the government. And then in that system, the government could redistribute that as like a basic income or whatever, right? Well, if everything is automated, where do we fit in? What do we become? Are we just going to become like cattle more than we already are? What if they guarantee you a certain level of living and they provide everything for it and it's like not what you're into? You'll have no ability to operate outside of that to create a life that you want. And then how do they decide, well, does everyone get the same thing? Because I know people that make more money than me wouldn't be happy with that. Either they would get, if we're all being met on the same level. So I did some more digging on it, and yeah, more AI guys are talking about it. The military just swore in, I think it was in like June, the military swore in 4 generals in the reserves, and they're like, the chief technology officers from like the 4 biggest AI companies. Where dude, humanity is about to get rug pulled. Like, dude, look at fucking healthcare. If you're like a normal working person, it's definitely a bad deal. Now, it's cool that they made it better for people that were like struggling, like your pre-existing types, your disability types. It's cool that they figured out a solution for those guys, but stop me if you disagree, but for normal working people, dude, the fucking ACA was like the single worst thing that happened to my family. And now what happens when everything is just that? Like that was their best plan, and they haven't done anything to improve it. Now what happens when that's like your living situation, like your housing, your fucking energy consumption, your vehicles? There's no workforce for you to participate in to make these decisions for yourself, so they're going to be handed down from somewhere. Not to mention the entire government is controlled by, you know, some other foreign entity that it's probably impossible to even identify, so I don't even know. And then all of our entertainment's coming from the Prince of Saudi Arabia. What the fuck, dude? We gotta figure something out. I think one telling sign was a lot of this stuff came out during like the Charlie Kirk stuff, but dude, changing the H-1B visas from $1,000 to $100,000, essentially eliminating the India to IT guy at your job pipeline. Now, instead of, if you work in any kind of like technical role somewhere, so yeah, now your daily stand-up meetings, it's not gonna be you struggling to understand 16 employees who are Indian. Now it's just gonna be fewer people. It's not, they're not cutting off the Indian guys because they wanna hire more American people. They're cutting them off because they know that they're not gonna need them in the next 5 years. And we did need them, by the way, because our fertility rates dropped because of a number of things that are all very questionable. And I'm not even getting into conspiracy talk right now. I'd like to have an expert with me to do that stuff. But don't you find it suspicious that in the most prosperous country in the history of mankind, where we're more successful and productive than at any point in human civilization, two people both working full-time jobs can barely afford to have their own family, to the point that it's like kind of seen as like a bizarre lifestyle choice? So our birth rates dropped. Our native birth, I'm saying native, I'm not getting tripped up in the language of like, you know, American, you know, birthright and colonialism shit. But American birth rates dropped to the point where we could not sustain replacing the previous population without importing a lot of cheap working age people. Was this all by design? Is this all an unlucky outcome of making the market as efficient as possible? Is it weird that for what feels like decades now, there's been like a major editorial push about, you know, the power of women being able to choose child-free living? And I love that for them, and they should choose anything, but it's also like, I think a lot of these ladies got tricked, and I speak to a lot of women without children that say, yeah, I wanna have kids, it's just like, you know, and then they come up with some reason that I've read on a blog 8 million times. Dude, you wanna talk about simple pleasures? Nothing I've experienced that you can pay for or seek out comes close to it. Like I had a moment yesterday, I was grilling salmon in the backyard, and we were just sitting there while all 3 of the kids and like some of their friends were just like throwing shit around at each other. And it was like, whoa, like you have moments like that like it's a depth charge in your heart, and you become acutely aware of your place in the universe. And it's like the most gratifying sensation. I can't even describe it. And we've convinced people that happy hour and unlimited mimosas are something that like you can definitely seek that out instead of the obligation of like creating your own family. Like we've invented a meaningless existence for people, and it's becoming more meaningless as the things that you're consuming instead of creating a real life are about to be made completely transparently hollow by like the Saudi Arabian royal prince. So I started looking into like, well, what are some of the reasons that, who popularized some of these ideas about how, we shouldn't even, wanting kids might actually not even be a great choice morally, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, that goes back to like the 70s and, early women's lib. And so then you go, well, who were the key players in that? And it's like, oh, well, like some rich French bitch and some Jewish lady wrote these books. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I did a lot of early life stuff on Wikipedia this week. And another key component of this is like the overpopulation myth, where it's like, I became really hyper aware of how people my age felt about having kids when I started having kids. And I, not only just through like talking to friends, but like, headlines would jump out at you and you're just like, am I contributing to overpopulation? Is it selfish to want your own family when there's too many of us already? The fucking native population's in decline. We're not overpopulated at all. We need more people. We need enough people so that they can import these cheap workers to compete us out of our own wages here. And it's too late now because AI's here. It's too late to turn back. So I started looking into what's up with the overpopulation theory. That all stemmed from one book written in the 60s. And it's this guy Ehrlich. And I said, just for fun, and it doesn't matter to me, let's do some early life stuff on Ehrlich. And guess what? Mom, Jew, dad, family from Transylvania, dude. So we've had 70 years of, there's too many of us, and look at the people around you who have children. They're a strain on our resources. And that all came from Jewish Dracula Jr.? That's weird. I don't know. And unfortunately, I landed on all this stuff because I was getting so tired of just all the online back and forth. I didn't feel like jumping into any of the conversations, All of the cool alternative news sources are being funded by like foreigners. You have your edgy right bros, your fucking Tim Pools that are like, you cut off the money from Russia and they're just like, well, I don't even know how I'm gonna make payroll this week. And then your Ben Shapiro, who's like, I mean, duh. TikTok was forced to sell to a firm owned by some guy from some, religious and ethnic background that I can't really remember right now. But the problem with TikTok was that China was collecting your data from using their app. Okay. That doesn't sound great on paper. But then the theory became that people started noticing too much on TikTok, so they had to find a way to turn that around. Also, if China was collecting that much data on people, don't you think our government would just be buying it from them? Are we just cutting out the middleman? Say, hey, that's our data to steal. That's our fucking billionaire perverts property that you're messing with over there. So China, and then China is just like IP thieves, so whatever social media propaganda they drum up over there, they're just gonna make a cheaper knockoff. They can, I want China to have all my data. They'll do something nice with it. I want my data to help fund a mega project that never gets finished in a resource poor area of China that no one could live in. That would be fucking sick as hell. You ever see how people's names are engraved in bricks at stadiums and shit? That's what I want. I want a cardboard skyscraper with my name written on a Sharpie on it because I liked videos of fake arguments on airlines on TikTok. That's what I want. Not some fucking Jewish finance guy pulling my strings. So, I don't know. I guess we have 5 years left. My intention is to get into as much cool stuff online as I can and post pictures of my progress. Oh, dude, remind me to show you guys my Xbox 360 setup. I did the RGH3 mod where you open up the Xbox 360 and you use 2 wires to jump these points on the motherboard. And then you use a firmware flasher that I made out of a Raspberry Pi Zero. And then you just run some software and it pulls the key from the Xbox and then it flashes, you know, changes it, you write it back. Now I can run any game I want off the hard drive. I got Rock Band 3 with something like 1,000 songs. I think it's every song ever made. And I got that connected up to an Alesis Nitro Mesh electronic drum kit. So now I have a full-size electronic drum kit for playing Rock Band 3. Isn't that sick? Bonus? You ready for the bonus? My 15-year-old saw it. It was fun enough. Now he wants to take real drum lessons and get a real kit. Let's fucking go! Every new piece of information you receive is a threat, and every simple pleasure that you can either create or partake in is your only hope. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe we will flip the switch and we'll switch over to robots and AI for everything, and we will have utopia. But even in that best case scenario, they think in 2027 we're gonna have they literally said short-term dystopia. Former Google Chief Business Officer Mo Gaudat, he was doing an interview about this horse shit, and he said he predicts the real pain could start by 2027, describing a short-term dystopia where layoffs hit hard, inequality grows, and stability shakes. The so-called golden age of AI with abundant health and universal health care cures may only arrive if humanity changes the incentives driving corporate decisions. So humanity, that's all of us. All we have to do is band together and change the incentives driving corporate decisions. Now, number 1 on the menu, let's stop arresting these guys when they get caught trafficking in children. That seems to really bum them out. That's like their favorite thing in the entire world is, you know, having a sex dungeon where they take advantage of young people. Let's give them a little bit more of that and say, does this please you? What else can we do to keep these guys, to really show, we have to prove ourselves to the guys driving corporate decisions. What can we do for them? We're gonna have to learn. Dude, if all 350 million Americans learned one dance that we could do at the same time together, and we put the billionaires up in a blimp, and we looked up and we said, please let us eat. We want some pizza. Please let us fuck. Please don't stop us from starting families. You know, they're gonna have a say in whether you're able to reproduce. Because now, since every child you have can't contribute to the workforce, they're only going to be a resource draw. And so you're gonna have to apply to, you know, the fucking AI president and say, hey, does it make sense for my family and I to welcome a child into this world? And it's gonna go beep, 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 nah. Or maybe, but like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do tasks? Are we gonna run errands for the AI? There's nothing we can offer them. If you want anything nicer than like fuck, dude. And BlackRock owns all the houses. So BlackRock goes, whoa, we gotta stick around. You need us, we own all the, I mean, unless you guys wanna completely rewrite property law and take it from us, and the AI goes, actually, we do. Actually, we do. That's a great point. We'd love to rewrite property laws so that we could just seize it. And then the CEO of BlackRock gets executed on, you know, whatever we replace television with. Apple TV Plus shows the CEO of BlackRock getting microwaved by, I don't know, Grok 5. We're gonna have to come up with some kind of dance to really impress the people driving corporate decisions. Because if we don't change, if we don't find a new way to incentivize those guys, man, it's really gonna be bad for us. Goon caves, I think. I might see if I could pitch a show to whatever. What channel does like, you know, house flippers? I might do a Goon Cave show. Dude, can I do Goon Cave makeover? Move that gaming chair. I don't want to sound like a pessimist. This stuff's real. That Stranding 2 was sick. I think I'm gonna do some video game stuff this week on Patreon, patreon.com/Tim Butterly. We also have a Discord over there now. I got tired of using the chat feature. We're sharing our projects and stuff over there too. There's guys, people have stuff cooking. Right now they're advising me on telescope purchases. I'm looking for something in an 8-inch Dobsonian. That'll be really, dude, that's a great thing to check out what the online guys are talking about. You know, but as a beginner, I'd spend a little bit more. You're gonna get more out of it. That kind of stuff. Come over, come chill. Thanks for letting me work through all these thoughts I was dealing with. They've been really bothering me. This all stemmed from, I had a beautiful moment at Sky Zone with my family, and I was just like, yo, how did they trick people out of this? How did they convince everyone this is a bad idea? All right, I'll see you over there.